The September 11th, 2001 terrorist attacks were carried out by the terrorist organization Al Qaeda, led by Osama bin Laden. The terrorist group is believed to have carried out these attacks due to America's support for Israel, its involvement in the Persian Gulf War, and continued military presence within the Middle East. The terrorists involved in the attack had gained occupancy in the U.S. for over a year in advance and had taken flying lessons at American commercial flight schools. The remaining terrorists involved had made presence months before the attacks. The planes used to carry out the attack were targeted due to the abundance of jet fuel aboard, which would fuel the fire burning from each attack. On the day itself, 19 militants who were part of the Islamic terrorist group Al Qaeda took over 4 different planes and executed suicide attacks against various locations in the United States. 2 of the planes struck the World Trade Center, 1 of the planes struck the outside of the Pentagon, and the final plane crash landed in a field in Pennsylvania. By the time that plane that crashed in Pennsylvania was hijacked, passengers had already been hearing of the other terrorist attacks, and on this plane in particular, a few of the passengers resisted the hijackers and stormed the cockpit. If they had not have done so, the plane would have crashed into a different target. Suspected targets of this final plane were places such as the White House, the Capitol, and various other nuclear power plants located on the East Coast. The casualties on this fateful day came to over 3,000 people between each of these devastating attacks. The address given by George W. Bush to the people of the United States that night was, "Terrorist attacks can shake the foundations of our biggest buildings, but they cannot touch the foundation of America. These acts shatter steel, but they cannot dent the steel of American resolve. We will make no distinction between the terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbor them." Immediate effects and political actions in the United States of America following the attack mainly began on October 7th, when the United States and President George W. Bush led an effort to terminate the Taliban regime in Afghanistan and wipe out Osama bin Laden's terrorist network based there. Approximately 2 months following the initiative, the U.S. had removed the Taliban from operational power. Following this success, however, the war continued, and it was not until May 2nd, 2011, when Osama bin Laden was tracked down and killed in Abbottabad, Pakistan, that the U.S. troops began to be withdrawn from Afghanistan by President Obama. International support of the United States was strong following the attack as well. Other world leaders such as Russia's Vladimir Putin and Germany's Gerhard Schröder spoke out as well. Putin called the attack a blatant challenge to humanity, and Gerhard stated that they were not only attacks on the people in the United States, but also against the entire civilized world, against our freedom, against our own values, values which we share with the American people. We will not let these values be destroyed. Many other countries such as Cuba, China, and Iran sent their condolences as well, along with offers to support the U.S. while it was struggling. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization declared the attack as an attack on all members of the nations. The fight against terrorism, as stated by George W. Bush, was now the world's fight. The attack on the World Trade Center and Pentagon on September 11, 2001, had a major impact on culture and society in the United States. Anger surfaced amongst countless people in America following the attack. This led to a harsh discrimination against people of Middle Eastern descent, and throughout the time immediately following the attack, there were violent acts as well. Examples of this violent treatment are the murder of a Pakistani grocer in Texas and a man in Arizona who shot and killed an Indian gas station owner. Precaution for safety was put into effect as well, such as the activation of the New York State's Emergency Operations Center and creation of a new Office of Public Safety to check on bridges, tunnels, and water supplies. Other anti-terrorism measures taken were things like George W. Bush authorizing enhanced interrogation techniques on valuable terrorists who hold valuable information, and extreme improvement of enforcement in airport security across the nation. Although it didn't meet the extreme policies of it, people of Middle Eastern descent following the attacks on the World Trade Center were treated like the Japanese in America following the attacks on Pearl Harbor. They are disrespected, frowned upon in public, and physically and verbally discriminated against in public as well. This is one of the darkest days in America's history, but as a nation, all we could do from this was rebuild.